This is the Real Good Procast with your hosts, Declan DeBarb, Ian Blumenthal, and Marshall Heath.
Welcome, everybody, to the Real Good Procast. My name is Declan DeBarb. To my left, as always, Ian Blumenthal. How's it going, buddy?
What's up?
Marshall Keeley to my right. We're back into a rhythm of things, eh?
Finally. Sorry about that.
So why don't we start in a very dark place and with the humbling experience that was the Leafs game against Tampa the other night.
I don't want to talk about
Yeah,
it.
neither do I.
Humbling is your word, not mine. Mine was
humbling
great
is
to watch.
As much as the
How is it
Toronto
great to
played like
watch?
trash, there was a bunch of luck involved where Tampa's goals, a couple of them were weird-ass bounces, and then we just didn't have a good start, and then we gave up in the third. And there was no point in that. But if we didn't have a couple shitty bounces, I think they would have been a very different game.
I completely disagree. I thought the team didn't show up at all that night. And I think that it was a team that looked like it didn't care. Yeah, we have the injuries and all of that, but there's still guys on this team that just need to show up on nights. Like I thought the first line with Tavares and Marner got caved in. I thought they looked the best on the penalty kill where Ron Hainsey. Is this the right game where Ron Hainsey scored a shorthanded goal, or was that
No, that was not.
was it
the
a different
right
game?
That was a different game.
Okay, but
Matthews and Brown.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Matthews
Right,
scored
it was
the
Matthews'
the
ridiculous
sick
goal.
and then Brown scored with like 30 seconds left.
5
It was-
seconds.
yeah,
5?
It was a goal that mattered
remember.
absolutely nothing.
I thought it was 30. Whatever.
I think I'm middle ground here. I think like Ian, there were some bad.
Man, it hit
breaks,
off.
but-
Matthews.
No, I'm not.
but-
No. What I'm saying is
No,
that
no,
there wasn't those unlucky bounces, that the team didn't play well.
Yes, Tampa did have
regardless.
40 shots, but if Freddie was on, and I don't think that he was having a bad game. I think that it
Yeah.
was just
So
some
I think-
stuff going on. There was some voodoo doll shit
It was
that
lucky.
was going on.
It was
making
lucky.
us
It
freak
was
out.
lucky for Tampa, but there is a saying where you make your own luck.
Yeah, no, you
And I think
got to be good to
Tampa-
be lucky, and you got to
yeah.
be lucky to be good.
And a lot of
so-
their goals were from set plays,
no,
right off the faceoff.
yeah.
I'm not saying that every Leaf had a bad game, but man, that team looked anemic that night. They looked like
Man,
they
we're
had
also-
no
We're
energy.
also missing two of our best defensemen and Kasperi Kapanen.
No. But that's not what I'm saying. The team didn't look good at all. Nobody looked like they showed up except Freddie.
Matty
Scored one
and
goal.
Sparksy. Man,
But
Sparksy only let in
they
2
had
goals.
they had decent games. I didn't think anybody was great. I thought that the team looked bad, and part of that, yes, is Tampa. Tampa being Tampa, they're by far the best team in the league. No one is even close to them. But also, I think the Leafs didn't show who they are. Part of that, yes, down to the injuries, but part of that down to the team's overall lack of gameplay.
Yeah, and also there's just the locker room is all sick and ill, and we're trying. We did not have a good game. We had a decent game. The game before we played was it Edmonton when we won? But we won because at least Twitter still went nuts because we gave up 2 goals in the last 2 minutes. and we almost
I think
fucked
Dangle's
it.
tweet fully encapsulated that, where it's like, we won. Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's okay. But it's just heartbreaking when, yes, they are the best team, and which is also no one's gonna beat this team in the playoffs.
0 teams.
Like, as much as I'm like, yeah, Leafs for the cup, I'm like, no way they get past this team 4 goddamn times. They're just so deep. Their defense is so good. Their offense is powerful. They call out plays. They had a 3-on-1 against on the penalty kill. Like that's reading a play better than anybody else on the ice.
And I think
And that's 3 of the guys on the
I don't
team.
want to trash Babcock, but is that coaching?
4 of the Leafs went to change.
Yeah, but
was
that's
the
not-
worst. It was the worst team goal I've ever seen. It was worse than the Ottawa one. It was worse than the one in Ottawa. That
Oh, yeah, the Philly
against
one?
Philly. Did
Yeah.
you see that?
Yeah.
I think it was the worst team goal that everybody could have done more on that play.
Well, it's just Babs probably was like, change it up, boys. But the players have to get the fuck off the ice
and then get back on and go.
and skate.
And they also have to realize if it's not if he wants them off, get off. But if they get off, leads to a goal, they know to stay off, and he can point to this saying next time, no, I'm going to stay on. They have to be okay standing up to Babcock.
No,
I
yeah.
think, but.
But I'm not going to put that goal on Babcock.
No, I'm not putting any of the goals on
I'm putting
Babcock.
the
I'm
goal
just
on
wondering.
everybody. I think that
Yeah,
was a
I
bad
think
team
Babs was
performance
like,
overall.
change. And then the team was like, and then the Tampa was like, they're retarded.
And also, it was
3-on-1.
It was also questionable that the play was even coming back there. I think you could have had a strong claim that was a hooking penalty there on Riley. Just let's just get it out of the way. That word has no place in the game. Homophobia of any kind has no place in the game, nor does sexism, nor does racism. But the league came to its conclusion, and we're not going to say anything on it. I don't really want to give a stance on that. I think it's a done. I think it's a done situation, and that none of it belongs.
I hadn't watched the clip. Like, to be honest, I was like, I don't know. I'm gonna let the league decide. Because I don't think that clip really can actually encapsulate what happened on the ice.
No, I saw the clip. I thought it may have been said, but then the league came down and said, no, it wasn't. They talked to the ref, talked to other people. It was not said. It was a story. It's now not a story.
Yep, completely agree, guys. It's may not be a done issue in terms of homophobia in the game, but at least in this case, I'm happy that it wasn't Riley. Riley has done a lot of work in the LGBT community. He was actually in talks to get the Maple Leafs involved in Toronto Pride this year. He's done a lot in Vancouver. So I think at least personally, I'm very relieved that he wasn't wrapped up in that and that he didn't say it. And I think it's just
that would have been bad.
An exhale.
I hate when good people are like end up not being good people. Because I was in marketing class the other day, and we were watching like old Coke and Pepsi commercials. It was like Coke versus Pepsi, like how the marketing happened with them. And then one of the ads is like Bill Cosby like drinking a Coke, and I'm just like, on like.
Maybe he knows Jared from Subway. I don't know.
Okay, but why don't we just get back to the game? The Athletic does report cards after every Leafs game, and I really liked the lead on this one by Dom Lucian. Game 69 was not nice. It definitely wasn't.
Game 69 was not nice.
He didn't rank anybody in the 5-star or the 4-star category. Austin Matthews was the only Leaf rated 3 stars or above, and I think I completely agree with him. I thought the team looked horrible all night.
But Matthews can't be
stars?
good if nobody.
Yeah, it's kind of like the McDavid thing.
Is good around. Yeah, exactly. Like McDavid's sick, but he can't do everything by himself.
No. It's him and Draisaitl alone.
But also
maybe get to them later. But yeah,
the first goal was not great on Matthews' part. Neither was it on Muzzin. It was a complete breakdown in the defensive zone.
I agree.
But
he made up for it with his own goal. But yeah,
I don't know. Let's not.
That was daddy. That was daddy material, right?
Oh
there.
yeah, buddy.
Little quick toe dragsies around him.
It was classic Matthews, honestly.
And then whoop, right in the net.
Do you want to move on to tonight's game?
I don't want to dwell too much on that game, but I mean, just overall, Toronto's played 2 pretty competitive games against Tampa before coming into this one. Do you see Toronto having at least a sliver of a chance against this team in the playoffs, guys?
Okay. As a Leafs fan, yeah, woo, we can do it. Underdog. As a hockey fan, no goddamn way we're winning the series against them. No goddamn way any team in the league is beating them.
I think there are circumstances that could be done to, like if say Tampa has a hard 7-game series and Toronto wins in 5.
Hard 7-game series against the Columbus Blue Jackets.
And Toronto,
or Montreal.
You said Toronto wins in 5?
Against Boston.
Oh. I was like...
And then so they can come into that with more fresh light. I think it's going to be one of those scenarios that would enable a Leafs victory in the playoffs.
Kucherov could play 28 games back-to-back in one series and then come in and be like, I'm Kucherov! And still be sick.
Yeah. And then while you're worried about Kucherov, they still have who? Oh, Steven Stamkos.
And Andre Vasilevsky in the back.
And Braden Point on the same line. Tampa's just unfair.
No. Stammer's on the second line. Cooch is on the first line with Yanni Gord and Braden Point.
Which is stupid.
If you have Steven Stamkos on your second line,
right?
What is your team? So
it's stupid.
Yeah.
Well, we got Matthews on our second line.
Well, I mean, you guys have. I think
what's up.
No, I think it's a scenario where Toronto and Tampa have 2 first lines.
Yeah.
Let's be fair there.
Yeah.
But
but
think
then Tampa's third line is still great.
Yeah.
I think
our third line's also great.
I think our third line is fantastic.
However, how are your guys' third and second line defensemen compared to them?
How's our second line defenseman? Not good.
How's our first line defenseman?
Not good.
Half of it
Not
fantastic. The other side, not a first line defenseman.
You guys could.
Riley was the only guy on that 3-on-1 play that I was like, Good job.
All I'm
'Cause I was
But
like,
honestly,
you're
Riley,
alone.
Riley also just kind of laid down. But like, what do you,
You
want him
have
to do?
to, yeah,
But like,
You gotta just chill and be like, hopefully something hits me.
all I'm
it
saying
also
is
just kind of looked fun.
you guys could have had CC for a 7th round pick, and Ottawa fans would have been happy.
I would prefer to have Nikita Zaitsev, but okay.
Yeah.
I prefer to have like Ozhiganov, Marincin, Hall.
I don't think.
And
And I mean,
CC's trash.
is this a debate that we should get into right here? Because I think it could take up the entire podcast. But Justin Holl, a guy who hasn't been given an opportunity this year, he's turning once again into another red shirt.
Last year he was great for like the 2-3 games.
If I'm not mistaken, the game against Tampa was his 6th game of the season. Now, we can talk about roster composition and everything all we like, but I think at the end of the day, you need to cycle guys. We cannot have players like Hall, like Nick Patan, who we just got, turn into red shirts that the organization burns as assets.
and they just scratch them until
Because-
they become trash at hockey, and then they can't even trade them or put them in the AHL without them getting claimed on waivers.
I think if you send Hall down, he goes right through it, and he's on the Marlies tomorrow.
Yeah, no one else is.
Who's claiming Hall after the 6 games he's had? And that's not like some of it is on him. When you're given the opportunity, you need to shine, and he hasn't looked great this season. But how much of that comes down to playing 6 games in 60 games?
He like practices and that's it. Like he doesn't get any game action. Put him in the AHL for another year. Develop him some more. We have make him a good asset again, and then
It's
either
becoming
trade him or use him.
it's becoming a trend. We saw
So like
it-
every team does.
we
this.
saw it
every
with
team
Levo.
has to.
Does it? Tampa. I'm pretty sure Tampa cycles its players. I'm pretty sure other teams cycle their players. It seems like a thing that has been routine under Babcock and not something we focused on before.
So
The isolating of players into the press box to a point where they are unusable.
that Ottawa has mangled that with Nick Paul. Nick Paul is going to be a good player, and I think he had a good amount of games that he watched in the press box, and it's kind of become and that is part of the reason I think that led to Guy Boucher's fire. Part of the reason why I was okay with him getting fired. He bungled how to call up young players, and I think if that's something you need to be worried about if you're not great at depth, which comparatively Toronto is not when you look at them, say Tampa, who for the foreseeable future you're going to have to get past through before the 3rd round if they don't change the format, which we can talk about on another day.
I mean, we can talk about that a little bit later, but I don't know. I think at the modern NHL, with all the travel that you have to do and then all of the games that you play, and when you're a team like Toronto, where we've made the playoffs basically since the start of the season, I think that was
Yes.
I think that was assumed.
The three-
I think it's I'm trying to think of the right word here. I think it's
Expected?
no, like I think it's
Predetermined?
I think it's against the best
Oh.
interests of the team to not play everyone you have on the roster. Why have Justin Hall taking up a roster spot if he's not going to play? Because then he becomes not even an option as a depth
If
piece.
you're in Ottawa, it's so that you can meet the cap minimum. That's my Ottawa talk for the day.
But Marshall, no offense, Toronto, Ottawa, different stratospheres. This is
No shit.
Toronto, a team that has made the playoffs from the start. So why
Yeah.
not let a guy like Nick
Well-
Paul, but like Justin Hall get in a few games against someone like the Edmonton Oilers to where they've experienced a couple of games. It doesn't make any sense to me why we have guys like Lupul, like Frankie Corrado, like Marinson, like Hall just sit up in the press box and not do anything.
At the end
All
of the,
they do is
at
practice.
the end of the day, if Babcock thinks the best team on the ice is the best team on the ice, they're 4 points out from Boston. That's a 2-game difference, and if they play Boston again, which I think they
I believe so. I
They
believe
do.
so.
so there are important games where you can't afford to
No.
not bring up. And I'll bring. That's where I've been looking at the upcoming schedule for the Leafs, and in the next 8 days they have 5 games, and I'm wondering how many points you think they will get. They host Chicago, day off, host Philly,
4
Uh,
points.
then they're at Ottawa.
2 more points.
Then 2 days off. They're back-to-back on the road in Nashville, then in Buffalo.
I think that'll be a tough set of games for the Leafs, and if they get 1 point out of both of them, I think I'd be pretty happy. I think that they should get
So out of possible 10, you think they should get 8?
8 points.
Okay. But you're saying 1 point out of each for the last 2. Basically, you're saying they can afford to lose 1 game.
Yep, I think so.
Okay.
I think that.
That'd be a good
But
stretch.
also, if they lose to a team like Chicago, but have reserved some players, and their Kapanen's not starting tonight, it looks like it's a concussion that he suffered against the Oilers. Is the only assumption I would make when he went head first into the boards, or shoulder first, should I say, into the boards. I'd like to see us use some more of our pieces that we have throughout the season. I think that, to steal an argument from Steve Dangle, the argument is that you should aim to win games long term. You should aim to win games in April and May and June, and not in October, November, and December.
Depends if you want home ice advantage, which helps in the.
No, it helps, but what I'm saying is that maybe sacrificing a couple of points here and there is good to have a rested team going into the playoffs.
Sorry, go ahead.
No.
I was gonna say I don't know if he has changed his philosophy, but I remember watching the 24/7 on ice series between the Red Wings and Leafs, and they talked to Babcock, and he said he has a 5-game philosophy. He breaks the season into 5-game chunks, and based on this every 5 games, he will then make his decisions for the next 5 games. So maybe it's just one of those where the way it works out, certain players are always playing good in those 4th and 5th games. I don't know, but he that's how he views the game through a 5-game lens. He's not looking at January when it's November.
I don't know, man.
That's just him. From what I've understood.
I just think he's how he's approached depth, at least, is a flawed way of approaching it. And this isn't saying Babcock isn't a great coach. I think he's top 5 in the NHL 100%. Just that he has some flaws. But I mean, the example I keep coming back to is Washington. Year after year, they would play Holtby 60 or 70 games a year. Last year, Holtby was injured for a period of time and lost his starting position to Philip Grubauer. Holtby, I believe, started 53 games last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He was incredible throughout the playoffs, and Washington went on to win the cup.
I don't.
Now I'm not.
But it's such a small sample.
Now
size.
I'm not.
It's one
Now
goalie.
yeah. Now I'm not saying that is the only determining factor in their victory, but I also don't think it's a coincidence.
I don't want to.
Then you could say like Marc-Andre Fleury played a lot of games for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and then he still won the cup with them.
But also, then you had the tandem of Murray and Fleury.
Yeah, but I'm talking
going
about
back and
09 or 2010.
Yeah, Fleury then was
No,
younger than
09.
Holtby now, I think. And I don't want to change sports
Yeah, but so
drastically.
is Freddie.
Okay, but has Freddie been reliable in the playoffs?
Was
Man, he
Fleury?
Yeah, but I'm saying
Not in 09.
they won in 09.
Yeah, but not in 08. In 08, they went to the finals and lost.
Okay, so that was a learning curve, and that could happen for Freddie now. I want to bring up Tom Brady, just out of left field.
Okay, buddy.
The best year he's arguably ever had, other than the 18-1 season, was when he got suspended for the first 4 games. So he had 4 games left to play. That was the year that the Deflategate happened, and he went on to have an MVP season and won the Super Bowl.
Also say that Tom Brady is one of the greatest of all time, and he's
But
always phenomenal.
But of the last 3 years, his best year has been when he played 4 less games.
Yeah, but that's also because he's old. He's 41
Okay.
years old now.
Yeah, well,
Or
he's still
40 years
but he
old.
still plays the best. So what I'm saying is that
No,
having
40
less
41.
games played, say 41. It's present in June. Having less games played will never hurt if it's not too many less games. And I think that's the case with.
Well, you gotta have practice. Like you gotta play, but I do see like play a little bit less, rest up. Like Kawhi Leonard's doing that this season for the Raptors. He's just like missing a lot of games sitting on the bench because he's like. It's he calls it like load management for the off season, or I mean for postseason, so that he can push us through the entire playoffs and hopefully try to win us a championship.
I'm going to say Guy Boucher's motto was rest as a weapon, and look where he is now.
I just think that being a rested team helps.
Yeah.
People will say, they're professional athletes. They should be able to play every day, but they're playing other professional athletes. And I mean, if you look at back-to-back games and stuff like that, I believe that teams who are the rested team coming into a back-to-back are more likely to win. I don't think it's a close margin. I think it's a couple of percentage points difference. I also think that rest is just a benefit to all teams, and you shouldn't push your players to play the max amount of games, especially when you're a team like the Leafs or you're the Raptors. And I think that it's smart to rest your players because, like I said, you're not trying to win games in September. You're trying to win games in April
So
and June.
you'd be okay with the NHL taking an NBA model and resting a player every 15 games?
I think it should
You
be
think
more
that's-
often than 15 games.
Do you think that's worthwhile to the season ticket holders and to the fans that pay for one specific game for, say, Crosby coming to town and then he not playing?
I think at the end of the day,
You can find out if he's gonna play that game.
They may not do it till the day of, and you may buy them for Christmas.
Sucks.
It does suck. That's what I'm saying.
Whatever.
So is it?
But man, you're still watching your team play.
But if
you're
that-
not. You may be paying to go see that one guy play, but people know that if he doesn't play, he doesn't play. Whatever.
I'm just saying that
Like, you still see the entire team play around him.
I don't love that. I realize what rest helps. Rest is a weapon, but there has to be a reason to not play beyond. Well, he'll be better in May then.
I don't think that you need a better reason than that. Don't you play? Why do you play hockey? Why do the NHL players play the regular season?
And this is where it's different from, say, European soccer. Everything
Yeah.
matters on one thing, whereas they don't give two shits who win the President's Cup and who wins the conferences. Who gives a flying F?
Yeah, man, when Nashville put up that banner, like, Western Conference champions. It's like, everyone's like, who gives a shit?
And I mean, look at the Washington Capitals. How many years in a row did they win the President's Trophy?
And no one gave a
and
shit.
it didn't matter. You don't play to win games in the regular season. I don't care. I don't care if my team finishes second or third.
But at the end of the day, that 1 point may be the difference between playing Tampa and playing.
Yeah, but
Columbus.
I mean, look at the Leafs situation right now.
Yeah,
It's
well,
what,
yes.
97%
Okay,
chance
yeah,
that
no,
we're going to play Boston,
and what
and
I'm
it's
saying
been that
is-
for a while. It's been that for a while. They didn't do it last season either, when it was almost for sure they were going to play Boston. They kept using their players and they kept using their star players, and it looked like they were burnt out.
Yeah, at this point, I'd say rest, but don't rest them in November when you don't know what's going to happen. You can rest them now for a game, 2 games, because you also don't want to. You also want to go into the playoffs on a rhythm. You don't want to have the players going in and out.
No.
You need to be ready to go once that time comes and on a roll. So,
Well, yeah,
it's a
Man,
it's
but
a thin rope,
rest
thin
is
line.
huge. Resting throughout a season, if you do like 1 game off every 10 games or so, you're missing 8 games in a season. But man, that's a lot on your body. That helps, especially when you're getting older. Like, if Crosby took 1 every 10 games off now, I'd be like, okay, I'm totally fine with that. He gets to play less games, yes, but it does help his body, and he could probably play till A, he's older,
Yeah.
and B, it'll keep him better for the playoffs every year.
Yeah, no, there is that part too where it could
Like, can you
elongate a career, which
100%.
it's hard to argue against that. But yeah, I think it's. I'm not all on board, but I can definitely see where the argument is resting. I'd be more of along the lines of rest once a month. I don't know, on a back to back. Like make it worthwhile. Don't do a random game. Do it on a back to back.
That's reasonable.
Do it on the road. Don't just do a random home game in the middle of a 3-game stretch.
no. Yeah, don't rest your players for the big games in the season.
Yeah, you don't-
That's
yeah.
not what I'm saying. I'm not
Rest-
saying
Rest John Tavares going back to Long Island.
Yeah, what I'm saying is
That
rest.
would be
I'm saying
so funny.
rest-
Holy imagine they did that. Like, they healthy scratched him just to give him rest. And, like, the Islanders organization, like, he wasn't even there. Like, they leave him in Toronto.
Like,
I would
if-
have laughed so hard. Everyone's going to boo him. He's not even there.
Like if Babcock would arrest a player, this weekend's the prime time. Philly, Ottawa, back to back. That's when you rest a player.
Rest Freddie, rest Matthews.
Well, you're gonna rest Freddie for one of those for sure. You don't play
Yeah.
Freddie back
Yeah,
to back.
obviously.
I also think that
Tavares.
Babs noted that Babs said
Marleau.
something like that Freddie's only going to start. I think they capped him off at 56 games, 50 something games.
What's he at right now?
Gonna check.
I'm not sure.
30 record is 33, 14, and 4. So 33 plus 14 plus 4. I can't do quick math. 33.
53 already.
So
I believe it's 58. So
so the cap.
is the cap that they've set. So I think we're going to see.
No, yeah, you're right.
So
we're-
51. So he has 7 more games.
We're going to see
And-
Sparks more often.
No, you're gonna see Sparks 3 more times. 3 more times.
No, we're only at 69.
You've played 69 games. Just so you have
We need
13
13
more.
more.
So you're gonna see. Okay, sorry. Yeah, you're gonna see him a little bit more.
And I think that's the right call. You want Freddie to be rested going in. Rest. Like I said, I think it.
Yeah.
I think it only helps a team to have rested players. And I mean, I don't think there's much else there to be said. I think that it makes sense to rest your team, and
Yep.
And as
Babcock
much as
has a pattern of not and ruining assets.
right now, as much as we're talking about resting players, like, it's not good that the Leafs have injuries, but if they're gonna get injuries, do it before the playoffs, get a little bit of rest maybe, and then come back in and hit with 2 feet going. What's that saying? Land with 2 feet running.
Hit the ground. Hit the
Hit
ground.
the ground running. There you go.
It's all right, buddy.
I don't know sayings. Hit the ground running in the playoffs.
Why don't we move from Toronto's injured defensive core to Ottawa's, where Thomas Chabot will be week to week with a broken toe.
I'm surprised you didn't announce them as the first eliminated team, the Ottawa Senators.
I wouldn't be that.
They're the only eliminated team so
the
far.
only one.
Actually,
Yeah.
no way.
Great.
That's so funny.
We already know our fate and our first round pick. Oh wait. Yeah.
Psych, you thought.
Yeah.
Listen, shut Thomas Chabot down for the season. Don't rush him back. It doesn't make any sense.
Crawford says both he and Shabbat want him to play before the end of the year. I'm on your side. I think they should shut him down. No reason for him to play. No reason to risk something further. At this point, I mean, they just signed a really cool story. I can't even remember his name. I'm gonna pull it up right now.
But yeah, Thomas Chabot
sends.
out week to week. I'll stall for you, Marshall. Don't worry. Ottawa is not going to win a game, are they?
Man, Ottawa is so bad.
I'm gonna pull up their remaining schedule. I want to ask you how many games you think they could feasibly win.
Like, I think that they'll probably play some teams that might be resting players. They'll probably play some teams that won't give a shit because it doesn't matter for them and it doesn't matter to Ottawa. So
Yeah. No. So they just
maybe
signed.
a couple.
Yeah, they just signed Max Veneroy. He is a Ottawa native from Gloucester. Actually played in the then CJ8, Canadian Junior Hockey League. It's now the CCHL. He then went to Princeton, played all 4 years, and he signed back with Ottawa. But it's a cool story that in grade 12 he was playing Junior B hockey, and now he's suiting up for the NHL tomorrow night.
Where did they sign him out of?
Princeton.
Okay.
He played all 4 years. He didn't get any scholarship offers. He had to write to every school he wanted. He basically at every school. And Princeton was the only school that got back to him. They said, "Yeah, sure, let's go." And so now he's gonna be playing for them tomorrow night, which is a cool story.
It's
I
a great
think.
story.
So that's like that and Tkachuk are few of the bright spots of a otherwise very diminished Ottawa season. But yeah, I think with that Tkachuk, Chabot out. They're not going to call it Brandstrom, so it's kind of just
Seeing the rest of the season out.
yeah.
Do you want to stomp on the corpse a little bit more? I do have the schedule
Go
pulled
ahead.
up.
Go
So
ahead.
tomorrow they play St. Louis.
Great.
How many points?
Let me pull the schedule myself.
Are we talking about
Wins. How many are they going to win? How many games are they going to win of the ones
Okay.
left? Are they going to beat
Lose.
St. Louis? They have the Leafs. Leafs after that.
lose?
Canucks.
in Vancouver?
Lose.
The Flames in Calgary.
Lose.
The Oilers in Edmonton.
They could win that.
I think between Vancouver and Edmonton, they'll win at least one of those.
Yeah, I could see them winning that. They could beat Vancouver, but I just feel like Vancouver probably won't lose at home to Ottawa.
The
But,
Senators.
we'll
There's-
say though, there's 3 days off in between before the Vancouver game, so that does help Ottawa.
But does Vancouver have games before it?
Vancouver plays on the 20th. Before that, they play on the 18th. They go 15, 17, 18, 20. So,
They then have the Sabres in Ottawa.
that should
Probably
they
lose
can,
that.
I think they can win that.
The Panthers in Ottawa.
They could win that, but I don't know.
I think it's-
Markov's been really good.
Same as the other one, but between Buffalo and Florida, they'll win at least one of those. I think.
The Leafs in Ottawa. The Lightning, I'm not even going to ask. The Rangers in New York.
They could beat the Rangers. The Rangers are throwing shit out the window, and they don't really have much going for them right now.
And then the Sabres and the Blue Jackets.
I think they'll be
One of-
Sabres again.
I think they can be
They could.
reason to beat the Blue Jackets, especially if the Blue Jackets are a point out or 2 points
Wait, is it
out.
in Ottawa? Or
Yeah,
The one is
And
in Ottawa.
Blue Jackets have
Is that
not
the
been
last
doing
game
well.
of the season?
Yeah.
Last
Yep.
game of the season.
Last
That's
day.
funny.
That
Isn't it perfect that Ottawa returns to Ottawa on the last day of the season?
You
it's,
think
it's,
that was
it
on
is great.
purpose?
What? So
They
The
play
NHL is
do you think-
definitely rigged.
Do you
eh?
think Dorian chose Columbus because of that? I mean,
No,
I wouldn't put
I
it.
think the script was written preseason.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great season, guys. I love the storytelling. It's pissed me off. I will say though, I think I am the optimist that is. I'm an optimist that's also a pessimist, but I think two
What?
home.
Okay.
I'm a pessimist about Ottawa as a whole, but I think against Toronto, 2 home games.
They could win one of them.
I
Yeah,
think
see it.
they'll get 2 points.
The way they played against Tampa, I don't think they were that bad. They would probably beat
no.
Ottawa if they played that well.
I just think Ottawa because Ottawa's not been awful at home against Toronto in the past couple years. So I think they could get 2 points. I don't know.
Okay, boys, why don't we not dwell on this dark mess for
Trash.
too long? Boston, their 19 game point streak just ended against the Bruins, and I want to build this into talking more about the playoff pictures. We come down to the end of the year. Boston 19 games with a point, yet they are only Give me a
4
second.
points up on the Leafs right now.
4 points up on the Leafs right now, and the Leafs have yet to go to the shootout this year. They've yet to go to not hockey.
They have 2
Ottawa
more
only- an
regulation overtime wins, and
Ottawa only has 1 shootout game this year too.
I hate the shootout, man.
Okay, well,
But-
could get to that later maybe.
But Boston, incredible run they've been on. They've been without Pasta for at least a decent part of it.
this is one of those things where you kind of worry if you put him back in the lineup, does it ruin it?
I wouldn't.
This is where the conversation comes. I would put him in the lineup.
100%. One of the most lethal scorers in the game.
Yeah, for sure. You put him in. This is just they always bring it up, but I don't know. I think Boston. It's going to be interesting how they play and who gets home ice will be, I think, a big difference for the series eventually.
It will definitely come down to it, and it looks like it's going to be the Leafs for certain. And I
for
want
certain home ice.
Huh? No, not home ice, but it looks like it's going to be the Leafs that they're going to
just
play.
Boston Leafs.
Leafs.
100%.
Yeah, they're up by 6 points.
Man, the next team that could catch up to us would be Montreal, and they are 8 points
Carolina.
behind us.
No, Carolina's 6 points.
Carolina can't come into a division
Carolina's
spot.
in
Oh, right.
Metropolitan,
Yeah.
not in the Atlantic.
Yeah, I was there.
Like Montreal's the only one. They're 8 points, and we have a game in hand.
Montreal's out of the playoffs right now.
Yeah, they're not even in a playoff spot. They're tied in points, but they have less
I'm cheering for Montreal.
regular overtime.
I would really like
But
Montreal to make the playoffs.
If
and get
Montreal makes
killed by-
playoffs, that means probably Columbus won't.
That's
Or
why I'm cheering.
Carolina.
That's why I'm cheering for Montreal. I don't want Columbus to make the
I
playoffs.
really
Man,
want Columbus to make the playoffs.
I love
I hope
Tortorella.
Columbus makes the playoffs.
I love Tortorella, but no, I don't want him to.
Man, I hope they win the cup.
It would
Honestly, you know what? If they do, that gives a much better chance that they get another first-round pick. So it's kind of like either they make the playoffs and they get another first-round pick because Matt Duchene will resign, or they don't make the playoffs and they get a better first-round pick, but Duchene probably won't resign.
I also think Columbus making the playoffs is better for hockey.
Over Montreal making the playoffs?
Let me explain.
Man, Montreal's trash.
So Jarmo Kekalainen loaded up this year. He took a big gamble.
I know where you're going with this.
If they don't make the playoffs, what does it tell to other teams?
Don't do that.
Don't build up. Don't try and go for it.
Yeah.
I think it takes, if Columbus doesn't make the playoffs, it's going to set hockey back 5 or 10 years
In terms of
in terms of
transactions.
in terms of excitement at the deadline. There no longer will there be teams going all in for it, and I think that having teams go all in for it and having peaks and valleys is much better in terms of on ice product than it is for than it is if all the teams just kind of play it safe and something like that. You know what I
So
mean?
What you're saying is James Duthie, Carleton alum, James Duthie's current nightmare is Columbus not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's fair. I can see where that would be an issue for the state of hockey in terms of excitement on transactions comparatively to the NBA and NFL, although I would say NBA is a little more overboard.
Oh, no. I completely agree. I would just like them to find a middle ground.
Yeah, and I think this year was a good middle ground.
No, yeah,
terms of-
100%.
It was a good trade center. It was an interesting
Some
time.
stuff happened. And
Yeah, and it was-
it was intriguing.
I was
Stuff
glued to it
happened-
all day.
even before it, and then it still made the day of really good.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good that way for sure.
Yeah, I was glued to Trade Center all day. The first time I can ever remember being glued to Trade Center all day.
I
Dude,
remember it.
every
Or when
year.
we sold everybody off, I was pretty glued to it. But that year we also didn't trade anybody at the deadline.
Yeah.
I'm glued to it every year. I've had snow days, and it's been the best day ever when it was a snow day on Trade Center.
Snow Day Trade Center. Oh, let's go. See,
That
that's what happens when you're
Snow
from
in Toronto in
Smith
February?
Falls.
Yeah, this is what happens when you're east of Lake Ontario. Shit happens.
Hey, we're east.
Shit happens.
We're north of Lake Ontario.
Well, where I'm from is east,
know.
northeast. It hits it. But yeah, so the playoff picture with Columbus not making it. would
Yeah,
be
so
interesting.
I
But
think-
think still having Carolina make it be a cool story. Screw Don Cherry.
Oh, screw Don Cherry. Screw Don Cherry.
But
But
I still like Ron McLean though.
Ron McLean,
He's so smart.
national treasure.
Yes.
There are 5 teams that have a realistic chance of making the playoffs. I'm going to cut it off at Buffalo. I don't think they can do it. Give me a second. They are 12 points out of the playoff
Yeah.
spot.
Watching Declan do math is what I look forward to every day.
Did you pass your math class?
Pass.
Pass your math quiz, I should say.
I did. I got 4.5 out of 5.
Good for you.
I
You had
know.
also a lot easier questions.
Oh,
than
it
me.
was all percentages.
I had long division and
Yeah,
I
I
had
don't know how to do that.
multiply decimals, and it was fantastic.
I told my
You
father.
guys are idiots.
I told my father that I didn't know how to do long division, and you can audibly hear in his sigh how disappointed he was in me.
I could do long division. It was the multiplying decimals and percentages I could not do. Anyway,
Multiplying percentages. Come on, man.
well then teach me after this. All right.
No, fuck you.
Right now,
Seb-
lesson on the podcast.
Seb-
Teach everybody.
Okay,
here.
Seb is
to
wishing he wasn't
multiply-
here right now.
To multiply percentages.
All right.
We really
and
need that
Do
Seb
you want to
cam.
move
But-
on? A little, okay.
You
But
can
I
do
would just-
X over 100. Is
Shut up. Shut up. But, I mean, there are 5 teams realistically who could make the playoffs: Carolina, Columbus, Montreal, Philadelphia, and Florida. Florida's a long shot there at 72 points. Columbus currently has 81. But 9-point swing. They have a game up on Columbus. I don't think it's ridiculous. Who do you guys see making the playoffs?
I also just want to say Penguins are not a guarantee either right now.
Yep.
Man, the Pens are making the playoffs.
I think
You
they are.
Crosby and
There you go.
Malkin. There we go.
Oh, I think
Aren't
I
going to
have
make the playoffs. And also, okay, this is kind of a tangent, but like, did you guys see that Malkin versus Crosby thing when they were shooting pucks off like the second, like in their arena all the way onto the
No.
ice?
No.
It was so funny. Malkin scored 3 out of his 4 shots. He was like, "Where's hit? Where is my hit? I want my hit." And he's so funny. I love Malkin. And then Crosby missed like a bunch in a row, and Malkin was just yapping.
Of course you would. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
Great.
that relationship is one of the best in the league.
And-
we don't get
and
to see it enough.
We talk about Malcolm later, but and it's really good for him. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah. So playoff picture. Who do you guys see making it?
in Metropolitan, in Atlantic, it's glued red.
No,
what it is.
I
wild
mean
card.
more the wild card. Which do you see teams falling out? Do you see teams climbing up?
Well, I could honestly see the Islanders falling down.
We've been saying that all season though.
And yeah, but they are. Like the Caps moved ahead of them already, like right now. And Pittsburgh is 2 points behind them, who are a much more steady team. And I would trust Matt Murray more than I would trust Thomas Grace or Yaroslav
I
Halak.
agree.
So I'm looking that New York could fall. I don't think they're going to miss it completely. I think they might fall to a wild card spot, and then Carolina, or I could see Columbus more likely taking that third spot.
Yeah, and as much as I don't want them to, I could see Columbus making it. I want Montreal to make it. I think in the end,
Maybe Carolina misses.
I don't think Philly, Florida, or Buffalo will catch it all. I think of the 3 teams to miss between Hurricanes, Blue Jackets, Canadians, I think it would be the Hurricanes because of the goaltending. Montreal and Columbus are more secure.
Curtis McElhaney is not good enough for you.
Compared to Bobrovsky and Price,
Bobrovsky?
I think it is more assured, especially with Price now passing Jacques Plante.
For most all-time wins by a Montreal Canadien.
Yes.
Canadien goaltender.
I would not be surprised if it's Columbus ahead of Montreal, who finishes ahead of Carolina, Carolina being out. That's my prediction.
I could see you. I could see that. But I could also see maybe Carolina
Yeah,
sticks in, and then New
any of those
York
teams for sure.
Islanders go.
You think the Islanders? Oh,
I think
No, the Islanders are stuck in. They're going to make the playoffs.
I think the way it is the way it'll end. I don't see Montreal having enough to get in ahead of a team like Columbus. I think Carolina has enough in the tank to pull them into the playoffs where they will be eliminated by Tampa in the first round in a sweep. But, you know.
I could see,
I-
depending on the next game between Columbus and Carolina, I think my vote weighs on which one of those teams might get eliminated.
I will say I can't speak for. I'm just looking at Montreal's schedule. The last 4 games suck. At Winnipeg, home Tampa. At Washington, home Toronto. But before that, they play Islanders, Chicago, Philly, Islanders, Buffalo, Carolina, Florida, Columbus.
Man, if they
Every
play the
single one of those
Islanders
are
twice-
winnable games.
Oh,
If
yeah.
they beat the Islanders twice, that gives them a 4-point jump on the Islanders.
Especially if the
and-
Islanders
Sorry,
fall
is
out.
this Carolina or Columbus?
That was Montreal.
Okay.
That was Montreal's schedule. Carolina's is a little bit harder. They play.
Tampa.
They go Columbus, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Tampa, Minnie, Montreal, Washington, Philly, Pittsburgh, Toronto, New Jersey, Philly. So they play Tampa twice, Washington twice, play Montreal, play Pittsburgh. I think Columbus. Sorry, that's Carolina. That's a harder schedule.
I think Carolina might lose this one.
And Columbus' schedule with the remaining games: Carolina, Boston, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Islanders, Montreal, Nashville, Buffalo, Boston, Rangers, Ottawa. That's more in between, I'd say. Maybe a little bit easier because they don't play Toronto or Tampa.
Yeah.
But they still have to go out west, and they still have to play. Montreal plays both Columbus and Carolina. Carolina and Columbus don't play each other. Oh, no, they do. Sorry, they play
Yeah,
the
they're
next
playing
game.
next game.
Yeah, so
Which-
they all play each other. I think that could be important games come the
Those
end of
are
the season.
the very important games.
I would also just like to bring up that last 10, Carolina is by far the best team in that category. Both Montreal and Columbus are 5-5, where Carolina is 7-2-1 over the
But
last 10.
In the last 5, Carolina and Columbus are both 3-2, while Montreal is 2-3.
Well, there you go. Stretches.
Wow.
And moving on to the Western Conference.
Yep. So, I mean, I think for the most part, the top of both conferences are set. Winnipeg and Nashville are basically locked, same as
I hope
San Jose and Calgary.
I hope Winnipeg's.
St. Louis is trash, but they're actually really good. I don't know why they were bad all season, and now they're great.
Well, Tarasenko has just gone down. They're currently sitting in the third spot in the Central. Do you see them falling out?
Not out of the playoffs, but like they could fall out of that spot for sure.
They're at 79. The next closest is Dallas at 77. Arizona is in the Pacific. They have the last wildcard spot at 75 points, and then it's a log jam.
Man, I want the Yotes to make the playoffs
I want
so
the Yotes
bad.
to make them so bad, buddy. Minnesota 74, Colorado 72, Chicago 69, nice. Edmonton 69, also nice. I'm not going to count Vancouver, Anaheim, or Los Angeles in the playoff conversation. But where do
Why
you
not
go?
LA?
Because they're very bad.
Hey,
If they
they're
win it,
better than Ottawa.
listen,
Yeah,
listen. They have 13 games left. If they win more than 3, I'll be surprised.
that's more than Ottawa's going to win.
Hey, they won 2 of their last
Going,
5.
I will say, I'll talk about the wild card, but to go back to the Blues question, if Ottawa beats the Blues are in trouble. That's my
Oh
statement
yeah,
right there.
100%.
In terms of wild card, I too want the Yotes, and I think the West is going to stay where it is. Unlike the East, I think the East is going to change. I think the West, the way it is, will be the way it is.
Now, if we want to talk about Colorado, a team you didn't bring up, they just lost Gabriel Landeskog. He's basically done for the season, 4 to 6 weeks. How do you guys see that affecting their playoff chances?
I would like to say that they're already not going to make the playoffs because they are very much one-line team, and they don't have very much anything going for them other than that one line and Simeon Varlamov. I know it's not the
he's
right part of
not
the world.
French.
but,
Zero
like,
part, yeah.
He is very much Russian.
Yeah, he's Russian, but like, same
He's a-
stuff, you know?
He's not from North America, and that's what matters. I am Don Cherry.
Okay,
Hear
Don.
my story.
It's good Canadian kid.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I don't think Colorado has what it takes, especially with Landeskog going down. I think that the playoff picture will end up looking pretty similar to the way it is. I think Dallas will move up, grab a divisional spot. I just don't see St. Louis having enough to keep it going. I believe that Arizona will make the playoffs, and I think that the last team in will be the Minnesota Wild.
Who will be the division
So
winners?
Dallas is going to fall out and Minnesota's going to come up with Arizona.
No, St. Louis is going to fall out.
Whoa, 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 whoa. What about Jake Allen, though? He's sick.
But they lost. Tarasenko also down with an injury minimum of 10 days, I believe, is the expected
Ryan
return
O'Reilly
time
and
is him.
Bozak
I think
and Petrangelo
I would-
and Pareko.
I'm just gonna say I would feel really bad for Blues fans that they fired their coach, got all the way into the playoffs, and then fell out of it late. That would suck.
That would be awful.
I think that's the roller coaster that's going to happen, though. I just don't see it. I just don't see them having enough.
Maybe just to end on the playoff, who do you think is going to win the divisions?
I think it'll be San Jose and Winnipeg. I think it'll stay the same way. I
I-
don't think there's any more. There's not much more moving shaking in the West.
I think
about-
Calgary.
Calgary.
I
No,
think
no. I
Calgary.
still think it's going to be San Jose. I think they're built better, but Calgary could. Like, you never know.
No,
San Jose in their last 10, 8-2.
I think this could be true. I think this could be an injury issue. Calgary has been relatively safe. San Jose has had more issues, but yeah, if they continue on their roll, then sure, San Jose. But I wouldn't be surprised if Calgary wins the division.
That's fair. I also don't think it's ridiculous to see either team moving. Yeah, no, I think I completely agree. I think that St. Louis will fall out, but other than that, Ian, your thoughts?
Yeah, I just don't think that St. Louis is going to fall that deep. I think that Dallas is more likely to fall out if any team is going to fall out that's in right
The
now.
horseshit Dallas Stars?
Yeah, the horseshit Dallas Stars.
with
they play
horseshit
like
Jamie
horse
Van
shit.
and horseshit Tyler Seguin?
You know, every time you say horseshit, Seb loses a brain cell.
It's the best thing to come out of this season.
He only has 8 left. He said it so many times.
Yeah, I don't know
Hey,
how he
hey,
survived
hey,
in
Ian.
engineering.
That's horseshit. Come on, man. Don't be mean to him.
Title of the episode right there, boys. Horseshit episode.
Don't be mean to him.
Don't be
Man,
mean
we're
to him.
we're so late. Like that should have been like so many weeks ago.
That's what's called a tease, buddy.
Do you want to move on to milestones?
Okay, so I think that
And not the restaurant?
Dallas could fall out, and then Minnesota could get in. Yay!
Fair enough.
Well, all is still to play for. Just quickly on the milestones, Ovi and Crosby both get 1,200 points in the same week, and then Evgeny Malkin 1,000 points as well for him. Also, Carey Price.
Crosby did it in less time.
315th win as
I
a
think-
Montreal Canadian.
I think it's just
Passing Jacques Plante.
going to Ovi and Crosby. I think it's so like it's just cool that they're both first overall picks that debuted in the same year, and then somehow 14 seasons later got each at 1,200 within a week of each other. And Crosby's now already 6 points more ahead. And I think that the fact that, according to this NBC article by J.J. Reagan, they've played each other only 4 times in playoffs, and one of those series have gone on to win the Stanley Cup every time. Which I think if they, with the new format that the NHL has
They play each other every goddamn time.
concocted, they have to play each other. So maybe this means they'll just win the Stanley Cup forever. I don't know.
Nah,
But I
'cause
wanna add-
Tampa. No way either of those teams are beating Tampa.
I think if Toronto or Boston gives Tampa a run, I don't think Tampa is as invincible.
Suck my dick. Tampa's invincible. They beat us 6-2.
Okay then, moving on. Hard to argue that.
All right. No, I just don't see any.
There
team
is
beating
no argument to be made
Has
that
Tampa-
Tampa's not that great.
I think Tampa's only lost back-to-back once this season.
Yeah.
They brought it up on the Leafs broadcast. I think they've only lost a back-to-back once this season. So let alone them losing 4, and they're gonna have
Well, it's
home
not
ice,
back-to-back.
and they're gonna have home ice advantage throughout the playoffs. So you're gonna have
Suck
to
my
win.
dick. They've only lost 17 games this season out of 70. Are you kidding me? That's 53 wins.
Yeah, and teams have been 8th in the playoffs who've went on to win the cup. All I'm saying is
Suck my
anything
dick.
can
No
happen.
team has been this
Anything
good.
can happen.
No team is this good. This is one of the best teams ever iced.
Now is it the best team ever iced?
this
Arguably,
not
this century.
We have
from the
time.
playoffs
this century?
to
This is the best team this century.
I could say Washington from 2 years ago when they didn't win the cup but should have.
Tampa
Exactly,
kills 'em.
and they
Tampa kills
didn't
'em.
win the cup.
Tampa,
So-
Tampa kills that team.
Man, they
any day of
got
the week.
Lars Eller and like everyone was so hyped. They were like, "This is the year," and then it was not their year. And they played the Leafs in the first round. We brought them to 6 games.
Well,
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah, I could see
anything can
Tampa
happen.
losing. I lied.
I think Tampa wins the Stanley Cup, but we'll save those predictions for a little bit later. Crosby Malkin, one of the best. Sorry, Crosby Ovi, one of the best rivalries in hockey right
I
now.
was like Crosby Malkin, one of the best 1-2s ever.
Yes, 100%.
Ever. Yes, ever.
Ooh, no,
No.
Gretzky, Messier.
I was going to say,
no,
and
no.
Yager Lemieux.
Crosby Lemieux. They played together. Suck my dick.
1 year that does not
I think
count.
Yager Lemieux was better
Suck my
because
dick.
of Lemieux being better then.
Suck my dick.
You love saying that right now. I think
No.
no matter what,
My
Pittsburgh
opinion's
has the
better than
best
your opinion.
1-2. Do you want to talk about shootout or do you want us to move on to
Let's
predictions?
just move on to predictions. We
All
don't
right.
have that much time left.
I'm an asshole.
Yeah, well,
You're just a.
your words, not mine. All right, so who do you have winning the East? Who do you have winning the West?
I'm a
Ian?
bunch of jerks. Sorry. Who do I have winning the East? Tampa's winning the East.
Yeah.
No shit.
Okay, we discussed that.
And San Jose.
And who's gonna win between those two?
And okay. Tampa.
All right, Declan.
I think it'll be Tampa
Okay.
out of the West, out of the East. Winnipeg. Not Winnipeg.
Ooh.
I think will be the Nashville Predators to come out of the West.
Because I am a
Oh.
stubborn asshole and I'm an idiot, I'm gonna stick with who I've had the entire year. Pens, Jets. Jets winning.
You literally just said the Pens are not guaranteed playoffs.
Yeah. But like I said,
yeah.
the team that gets 8th has won the cup. Anything can happen once the playoffs start. Who do you-
Marshall,
I
I
sorry.
hope they miss the playoffs and I get to laugh in your goddamn smug face.
And then if the Jets win the cup, I'm happy because that's what I'm cheering for the playoffs.
I would also just like to say that I think Tampa will win the Stanley Cup. I
It's
don't think
because
it'll be close.
Ottawa's not in the playoffs.
Not
think-
even close.
I think Tampa.
Well, yeah, of course.
I
think
think
that's why.
I think Tampa plays 22 games in the postseason.
All right. Well, do you over under 22?
That's like right in the middle between
16's minimum.
16's minimum, 28's max. That's more than
22 is not that high. 22 is pretty damn. Sorry, 20. I don't see them playing more than 20 games.
So you see them having 5-1 series every time.
I see them.
that's
I-
5-5.
I see them sweeping the East. I
4.
So you're saying 4-4-4 and then 7.
Yep.
Okay, buddy.
I see them.
Okay, moving on to the heart.
I'm gonna not agree with that.
Who do you have winning the heart?
The Hart
MVP.
I remember when I said Taylor Hall at the beginning of the year.
That
he
wasn't a
got
bad
injured.
pick at the beginning.
Yeah,
of
but
the
he got
year.
injured, so
Yeah.
okay.
Well, that's also.
Man, it can't be Cooch. He's just so good around him. It's got to be McDavid.
Cooch. I think it's. I think that saying Cooch is a stupid thing. Fuck you, Ian. No, but I think it is. I think it'll be Cooch, no doubt. I don't think the Oilers. I don't think McDavid.
I think because of
We'll get it.
precedent set with Hall and the fact that they weren't guaranteed to make the playoffs and he still won. McDavid. Rocket.
Ovi.
Ovi. Art.
Art Ross?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Kucherov.
Kucherov.
Kucherov. Vezina.
Freddie.
Freddie.
Wow. Freddie. Norris. This is where we get different.
This is a weird one.
The Norris is weird this year.
Man, because it's going to be Giordano or Riley, but, like, I'm going to say Giordano.
I'm gonna give it to Morgan Riley.
I'm going to once again disagree with Declan. I'm going to go with Giordano. But again, it could be anyone. Calder, I think we all are in agreement with this one.
Elias Pettersson.
Elias Pettersson.
Elias Pettersson. Well, those are the predictions.
Wait, what about
That's all we do. That's all.
Binnington?
What?
Jordan
Who?
Binnington?
Oh,
The goaltender for the St. Louis Blues?
I don't know. I think a week ago I would have said Binnington, but
I just don't know why Elias wouldn't. The argument for against Elias is not strong enough versus the argument against Binnington.
I don't know. I think the argument for Binnington is pretty strong.
But the arguments against is what I think would.
'Kay.
And also, traditionally, once the number of times the Calder just been the rookie that scored the most goals.
That's true.
That's how all NHL awards work, pretty much.
Norris?
That's a discussion for another day.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
that's very true. So we have trivia.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why don't we cut to trivia? It's you, Ian, this week. I won.
Because I won last week was it Declan that was trash? Yep,
no,
it was
no,
me.
I
No,
did
I got
the
it
question
wrong.
last
You
week. Fuck
and I went to you answered a second before me.
Oh, Gallagher.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I remember. Okay, so my guy was drafted 4th overall in 1997.
That's very descriptive. I don't remember 97.
Is it?
Aginla?
Nope. Were you going to say that?
No. Is it? Is it Dino Chara?
No.
No, he was drafted in '99.
Okay, next hint is that he
Bye.
was born in Montreal, Quebec.
Ottawa. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was part of the Ashen trade. So this guy was born in Montreal, Quebec. Declan, who do you think? I guess first.
Quebec.
First.
I love that. Montreal, Quebec.
Who's an old French player?
He hasn't said whether he's still playing or not. So I can't think of any old French guys.
Is it? I'm gonna be wrong. Is it Patrice Bergeron? That's not even the right. That's not even close
Dude,
to
he
being right.
World Juniors in 05.
It's not even close to being right.
It's
Yeah.
like a generation off.
Just a little
Go.
bit. Shh. Smart. Is it Wayne Gretzky?
Is it Carey Price?
I got nothing. I don't even know why I tripped that because I don't even got anything.
Like,
no,
I have
Bergeron's
no
a bad
clue.
guess. I'm going to trip that.
For his position, this is considered crazy. But in his 06-07 campaign, he played 76 games.
Brodeur?
No.
Ooh, that was a good shout. Is it? No, it's
I think I got it.
it's not him.
I think I got it.
3.
Is it Wah?
No.
No.
What?
Fuck off.
What?
Seriously?
What? Okay.
I don't know
He's
NHL
played for
eras.
the Islanders, Canucks, and Panthers.
Oh, is it Lou?
yeah.
Wow.
Did you know that?
Quick, yeah.
Oh, why didn't you just say something?
Because you were gonna say, and then right away, it's Lou. Oh well. I had it narrowed down to 2 guys, and I didn't make up my mind before Declan screened
Who's
it.
it between?
J.S. Shiger and Lou.
Jaguar would have been a good guess.
So that's the 2 I had. Declan
Listen,
screened it.
I clearly don't know errors in the NHL.
Clearly not after today. Holy crap! But
My history before like 2008 is
It's all the
blurry at
same.
best. It's
What?
blurry at best.
Yeah. What draft year was it, Ginla? How off was I on that?
He was 96.
Ginla
clue.
was 95.
That was my second guess.
11th overall. I thought it was higher. Oh yeah, cause
Didn't he?
he
not
wasn't.
start playing hockey
Yeah, I
until
know.
he was 12.
I don't know, but because it was the new and die trade, he wasn't as good of a prospect at first. It was like the Brandstrom thing right now with Stone. Well, congrats, Declan. You have won another one.
Yeah, I know.
Somehow.
Back to back, eh?
Well,
Back to back of the ones that I've been doing.
yes. Back to back against me. I think I haven't won I think I've
In
won
like 2 weeks.
I think I've won 1 this calendar year.
Marshall's on a cold streak, buddy.
Don't
We got to
worry
come
about
up with punishments
Oh.
that I might not have to do.
Oh.
Now that I don't have to do it, I'll bring up the possibility. But
How nice of you.
I know. I'm a saint. Me and Cersei Lannister cut from the same cloth. Great
Ew.
people.
I just
You
started
fuck your
watching. By the
brother?
way, guys, there's a cool new series called Game of Thrones. I just started watching it.
Adam?
I hate.
I will
I
neither
hate her.
confirm nor deny.
I hate her.
Cersei?
I hate her.
She's the worst.
Marshall, welcome to the party. I'm glad.
Well,
I'm glad you're joining. I was
I
a late
think
entrant, and you were late
Littlefinger's
to
the
me.
worst. She's the second worst.
I was a late entrant.
This
and
is
he
now
was
a Game of Thrones podcast,
Yeah.
no longer a hockey
We're no
podcast.
no who gives a shit about the playoffs now.
honestly.
Season 8. That's all that matters.
It will be overshadowed.
6 episodes, an hour and a half each. Oh my god, I'm excited.
Leafs and Game of Thrones on the same night. What are you
No,
watching?
Leafs. I just watch Game of Thrones the next day. You can't watch.
Yeah, I can't watch Game of Thrones live. Anyways, I don't have HBO. So Leafs.
Ah,
Hey, I've
broke
Crave,
man.
Crave,
Tins.
Crave TV.
Crave
Marshall.
TV is HBO.
No, but I can't watch HBO on
'Cause
TV.
you're trash.
Listen,
Yeah.
Marshall. if you need a place to come watch it, there
no,
will be a
no,
spot
you're
for
not
you.
invited.
Well, it was great. It was great being on the podcast, guys.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so
Why don't we wrap it up though, boys? From Declan Barb, Ian Blumenthal, and Marshall Keeley on this newly founded Game of Thrones podcast. Have a good night, guys.
follow your hosts on Twitter at DeBarp14, at Ian_Blumenthal, and at Marshall Healy. Don't forget to follow the podcast at Real Good Procast.